Hi, Karen Curry Parker here with your weekly Human Design Evolution Report. I'm going to break this week's report into two different videos. The first video, this one, I'm going to talk about what's up for the week. And we're going to talk about that specifically in the context of the Human Design Creative Quarters. In the next video, I'm going to talk specifically about the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction and the winter solstice happening on Monday, December 21st. So this week, the sun moves into the gate 10, the earth moves into the gate 15. This is the midpoint in our current creative quarter. So when we look at the human design year, the human design year is broken down into 4 creative quarters so that over the span of an entire year, you go through a creative process. That process gives you the code essentially for where you need to be focusing your energy as you go through the constant state of evolution and expansion that is the story of your life. We are in the quarter of recalibration, which means part of our job right now as creative beings is to go within, to explore the inner terrain around what it is that we want to be creating in our lives. We're being invited to do a retrospective, if you will, on what's come before, what worked, what did we learn this year. It's an important contemplative time. It's also a time to check in with what is the quality of trust and faith that you have. Are you sustaining yourself in an emotional environment on the internal and the external level that's helping you really create what you want? Now, each of these 4 creative quarters always starts on the cross of the sleeping phoenix, which is a direction-giving cross. And in the middle of each quarter, which is where we are right now in this current quarter, the quarter of recalibration, we go through what's called the cross of the vessel of love. What that really means is that in the midst of each one of these 4 creative quarters, we have an opportunity to take a pause and check in with ourselves and see what is the quality of love that we're experiencing. We know from human design that the center in the chart that gives us the direction for our life, that influences the tone of our experiences and really helps us calibrate what we attract into our experience, that center is the G center, the identity center. If we look at the gates on the identity center, what we see is that our direction in life and what we attract into our experience, where we calibrate our own personal sovereignty, it's calibrated by the gates of the G center. Each one of those gates is in some way, shape, or form associated with the energy of love. When the sun is in the gate 10 and the earth is in the gate 15, as they are this week, this quarter asks us to ask ourselves, how much do you love yourself? How much do you value yourself? How precious do you get about that? How precious do you perceive yourself to be? Because we will create in our lives in accordance with how much we love ourselves. If you love yourself enough, you might attract, I'm not going to say you won't attract the wrong partner, but when you encounter them, you won't marry them, okay? You might not even go out on a second date. Your antenna around what you're experiencing in your life will be calibrated by the quality of love that you have for yourself. And as such, you will disallow those kinds of experiences that are not a reflection of your self-love. With the gate 15, the energy of compassion grounding us, we see that we can't take any steps forward. We can't create with any kind of good momentum. We can't act with compassion if we don't first have compassion for ourselves and ultimately then compassion for each other. If we're not living and creating from a place of self-love, what that does essentially is it causes us to start running a tab of deficit in our life. We live from a place of not enough when we don't love ourselves. And what that does is it causes us to either be overly compassionate, if you will, to a degree to where we compromise our own integrity, our own resources. We give too much as a way of trying to prove our worth or our value. And we ultimately deplete ourselves in some way, shape, or form. If we're not acting first from a place of self-love, the compassionate actions we take won't be sustainable. The world needs, more than anything in the world right now, I think, it needs sustainability. It needs us to be making choices that are conscious and deliberate and allow us to endure in the flow of what we're creating without reactivity, without depletion, without boom or bust cycles. We need that baseline frequency of enoughness as a core element of how we create and as a core element of what we create. Self-love is essential for us to build that platform, for us to build that foundation. So this week, as we move towards the new calendar year and really a new cycle starting after January, we really are invited to explore whether our life and how we feel about ourselves and the compassion that we oftentimes direct so easily at others, that we don't often remember to direct back at us, we are being invited to ask ourselves, do you love yourself enough? Do you love yourself enough to allow all the good that is available to you, that's coming to you, to receive everything that you need, everything that you deserve, in order for you to continue to play your role in the story that is your life, that role that only you can play, that vital, irreplaceable, once-in-a-lifetime cosmic event that is you. The more we love ourselves, the more compassion we have for ourselves, the more we can see into the world the lovability and act with compassion towards others. So think about what you're creating in your life. Ask yourself if in the process of creating that, you're allowing yourself to receive everything you need to really fulfill that desire that you're holding, that you're building towards, and take stock of the quality of love that you have for yourself so that you can act with compassion towards yourself and ultimately towards others in a sustainable, peaceful, enduring, foundational way. Have a great week.